first ethical principle we'll discuss is autonomy. Autonomy is the ability for a moral agent to make decisions without being coerced. Auto in Greek means self, and nomos means law. So, autonomy is about self-governance. For moral agents, this means autonomous beings have at least some amount of control over their own lives. It also means that autonomous beings are subject to moral laws and codes. This is according to Kant. Without autonomy, there is no morality. Ethical principles are also found in some of the ethical frameworks we'll discuss in a later course. Autonomy does not mean one is free of external influence. Other factors can still play a part in one's decisions. For example, what other people say and do, or how one's environment changes. In the case of individual adults, an autonomous person is someone who's capable of making a rational and informed decision on their own behalf. But it doesn't mean that they have the right to do whatever they want or disobey laws and regulations. The autonomous being can make decisions without direct interference. Also, the autonomous being makes decisions rationally, not just based on instinct. They can take the time to reflect and deliberate on decisions with their own mind. As we alluded to earlier, autonomy can be considered a human right and is enshrined in law in various ways. For example, in the European Convention on Human Rights under Articles 2 or 3. Autonomy is inherent in all human beings. Any impact to autonomy impacts people in a fundamental way. It is therefore an important principle to uphold. So how does autonomy factor into emerging technologies like AI? Thomas Schneider, head of International Relations Service and vice director at Ofcom Switzerland, points out, "The biggest danger, in my view, is that there will be a greater pressure on all members of society to live according to what the system will tell us is best for us to do and not to do. For example, that we may lose the autonomy to decide ourselves how we want to live our lives, to choose diverse ways of doing things." AI has the capacity to significantly change human behavior. The profound transformation of who we are, what we do, and how we relate to ourselves. It can also exert a great deal of control of the lives of people. For example, weapon systems can limit human autonomy as humans may not have decision-making capability or understand the decision-making. Particular groups, such as the elderly and children, are highly vulnerable to adverse effects on their personal autonomy due to their needs and dependency on technology, lack of choice or possibility to consent, and their limited resources to mitigate the negative impacts. Additionally, an AI system might replace a task that was once performed by humans. This is a very important issue. The effects of large-scale automation and job loss on human autonomy has multiple impacts. For example, it can dissolve traditional safety nets, it can develop new ways to generate income, and develop new ways to create self-worth. It's also important to note that AI can impact human autonomy by moral de-skilling as well. Moral de-skilling is the loss of a skill and making moral decisions due to lack of experience and practice. People might feel that the control over certain aspects of their lives slip, which can lead to anxiety and discomfort. There's also great risks in terms of growing human passivity and ignorance, which in turn will further jeopardize our autonomy. So how do we address these potential issues? AI systems must be designed to respect human autonomy. This is not always possible, but we must question and mitigate harm when we can. AI systems must be designed to respect human autonomy. AI developers should not react to ethical issues after the systems have been designed and implemented. They should be proactive instead. One approach is meta-autonomy, or decide to delegate mode, where humans should retain the power to decide which decisions to take, exercising the freedom to choose where necessary and ceding it in cases where overriding reasons, such as efficacy, may outweigh the loss of control over decision making. Any delegation should also remain overridable in principle. Risk management processes must be able to identify, assess, and mitigate any potential risk to autonomy from an AI system under development. We'll discuss risk management more in another course. A discussion of autonomy can also center on AI systems themselves as being autonomous. But this hasn't fully happened yet. This usually would focus on robotics in particular. Autonomous robots are able to act without receiving direct external commands. They are not necessarily moral agents, so they are not subject to the same morality as humans or animals. However, the autonomy of robots is still interesting to explore. The ability for a robot to act autonomously might help us understand any risk it poses to minimizing human autonomy. Human jobs may be automated or assisted by AI technology. Autonomy is one of the several ethical principles that is relevant to emerging technologies. It's an important principle to examine and uphold for all moral agents that may be impacted by such technology.